Vietnam was not as good as what they did in the 40s. So the shock was not as bad, but there was a recession, and Democrats would be blamed for this. Remember, they've been in power since 1930. And what happened to all the women who had jobs in factories? In fact, what was the nickname for them? Rosie the Riveter. What happened to all of them? My grandma made bombers. In fact, to my point of view, she made them all. Because it's my grandma. So my grandma worked in a bomber plant in Bellevue, Nebraska, just south of Omaha. When she first started at the end of 42, they made B-25s, then B-24s, and then the B-29s, those planes that bombed, those big heavy bombs that bombed Japan. And she moved up to become an inspector. So she got promoted and was pretty high up there. Inspector was a big deal. She inspected spare parts, but also wing mounts for planes, where the engine fits in. Really important job. And so she did very well. And I love talking to her about it. We get so proud, deservedly so. And one story real fast about that. One day, this is at the end of 44, so B-29, these massive planes are being built, and she's on the wing, inspecting the #1 engine joint. She vividly remember this, on the wing of the planes. You're really high up there. Those are big planes. And there were VIPs coming through. And this was top secret. This happened a lot. You can imagine that, kind of military stuff. They couldn't let it be known during the war. And there were Army Air Force officers and civilians from the War Department back then. In fact, the Air Force officers were in khaki, but they had no rank or insignia anywhere on them. That's how secret it was. They were just generic uniforms because it was top secret. They didn't want anybody to know. So they were going through the factory and they were told, don't look at them, don't talk to them, that kind of thing. So she's on the wing and they came and stood right under the wing looking at the fuselage of the B-29 she was on. And she, of course, was acting like she's working, but she's listening because she couldn't help it. And the guy who clearly was in charge said, I like this plane. This is the plane I want. This is my plane. It was Paul Tibbets, the commander of the 509th Bomber Squadron. And she was standing on the wing of the plane that would become, or he would name, the Enola Gay. So, small war. So, on August 16th, right when the war ended, VJ Day, in fact, she remembers it very well because they basically stayed up all night and celebrated. You can imagine, everybody just going nuts. She got in, worse for wear the next morning along with everybody else, and every woman, in fact, they mustered out all the employees, and there were a couple thousand, and every woman, regardless of what position they had, including hers, got a pink slip. And men who had positions under her, they stayed. Every single one. How did women react to this? When the strains were quirked, she might think they might be upset, and there was resentment, but at the same time, there was almost relief. Do you remember that term for that kind of creation of the Industrial Revolution, how women are supposed to act? That cult of domesticity. After years of depression and war, women are thinking, as long as everybody else, we can go back to normal. And what are women normally supposed to be? Housewives, at home, married. And it was like going back to normal. It's going to be like 15 years later or so that women will begin to look back and say, wait a second. Look what we did and can do. And yet we are second-class citizens in our own country. And that will be, it's going to take a while, but be one of the fuels of the women's rights movement. You said the same thing about the civil rights movement in World War II. World War II is a big deal. Civil rights and feminism is the same thing in reality. So that's one thing. By the way, at this time, my grandpa was fishing in Czechoslovakia. And so with that, he went all the way across from Utah Beach, all the way across, in fact, was wounded pretty bad in the Wyoming, also awarded the Bronze Star. And then when the war ended, he ended the war in Czechoslovakia. And his story was, we liberated a lot of wine, and we were fishing with hand grenades. Fun way. Yes, you lob it in, shot, yeah. And like, whatever, guys, you weren't. But he was in the Signal Corps. And that's for communication. He's right at the front, but setting up communications. This was a valuable position. Right after World War II ended, a month after Germany surrendered, he was on a boat on the way back to the United States, ready to invade Japan. He was going to have to do that. In fact, he heard about VJ Day on a train going across the country, and he didn't even know where they were because it was all secret. As he found out, it was going across Iowa. Since he was born in Iowa, kind of weird. But that's when he found out. By the way, what do you suppose their reaction on the train when they found out about the atomic bombs?
We don't fight.
Overjoyed. So there might be a lot of argument whether or not the U.S. should have dropped the atomic bomb, but I never had any qualms about my grandpa being overjoyed that happened. Yeah.
Sorry to speak like that, but so the Warsaw Pact, was that just the USSR?
Yeah.
Just that.
Well, and the countries bound the Iron Curtain.
Okay.
And so, with that, let's get to a few other things in really quick. Told you a few stories, but in 46, Republicans did very well. They took over both houses of Congress and a lot of state houses that have been Democratic for years. And it looked like 48 they were going to sweep into the presidency. Truman's popularity gone down, the post-war depression. Democrats have been in power since 1930. So, Republicans, midterm. And their main goal, get rid of the New Deal. They wanted to get rid of Social Security, get rid of the 40-hour work week, get rid of minimum wage, get rid of the progressive income tax, and get rid of those hated labor unions that raise wages for so many Americans. And in 47, Congress would pass the Taft-Hartley Act. Remember President Taft? That's his son. The Taft-Hartley Act was a direct attack on the Wagner Act. The Wagner Act allowed for unions to collectively bargain. The Taft-Hartley Act made it much more difficult for unions to organize and also allowed states to begin to undermine unions at the state level. It also got rid of, remember sit-down strikes? Those were the most effective tools that labor unions had, and it made those illegal. Truman vetoed it, but they overrode the veto. Almost all Republicans voted for the Taft-Hartley Act, and a number of conservative Southern Democrats. They didn't want black farm laborers to unionize. And so, the Taft-Hartley Act is still the law of the land, but almost 40% of all workers were in unions by 1948. And so, this would be a slow undermining of unions that would not be noticeable to the 1980s, when union membership began to draw noticeably, and a direct correlation. Union membership dropped, and wages for most Americans would drop along with it. I was just looking at that. The glory days in 1973 were a lot higher wages for most people than today. Seems kind of weird. You think we should have gone up, but no. But remember, that's an economic policy. We're talking now trickle down would be to hurt unions, pro-union would be Keynesian. Okay, so in 48, the election of 48, it looked like Truman was done. In fact, the Democrats didn't want Truman. Truman even asked Eisenhower, General Eisenhower, to run for president. Eisenhower, who had never really voted, didn't even know what party he was, said no. By the way, what's ironic about the fact that Eisenhower didn't even know what party he was in 48? Yeah, he'd be elected president in 52. He would decide he was a liberal Republican in 52. Literally, I'll be a liberal Republican. And once Eisenhower said he would run, nobody hated Eisenhower. He was a national hero. And so, Truman is the nominee. And his program would be the Fair Deal. Sounds familiar? The Fair Deal, which was going to finish the New Deal. And let me just do these things real quick. It was three main components that Roosevelt could not get through in the 30s because of court packing and the Roosevelt recession. He wanted help for education. Oh, I forgot. Put down, I forgot to say this. The GI Bill. Basically expand the GI Bill. Democrats in Congress pushed through conservative opposition to GI Bill. And this was going to do something for all the veterans. This is a very much an economic philosophy. It's very Keynesian. The GI Bill provides what for veterans? No, actually, you're on the right track though. Anyone know? Now, help with jobs. Huh? Yeah, college education. Veterans get college tuition. Maybe not all, depends what school, but at least enough, the idea was for public colleges. And what Truman wanted was for all public colleges, free tuition. But GI Bill would be for veterans. Conservatives opposed that dramatically. They tried to get rid of it again in the 50s, and tried to get rid of it in the 60s, and tried to get rid of it in the 80s. But it's here. In fact, most people I know who joined the military want to be consideration college education. That's a Roosevelt New Deal, one of the last of the New Deal. So basically, we want to expand that. We got a little bit left to finish. I'll finish it tomorrow.
What is the amendment that puts terms on hold?
Actually, it's about ready to pass.
Okay.
In fact, remind me again, I'll tell you about this.
Yeah.
And in fact, it was initiated during the Republican Congress.
Okay.
They didn't want another world stuff.
That makes sense. I did not do very well on this.
No. Okay, yeah.
What happened?
Okay, yeah, good point, but you don't have hardly any explanations.
I don't know what happened because like I had all of this down the night before and I was like I really stressed myself out during it. And then, yeah, and then like the last paragraph the bell rang and that's why I didn't get to finish my synthesis.
Okay, that's, but, okay, we can wheel it back. But here, okay, try to get invasion. I'm not really sure where your thesis statement is. It's,
Yeah, I forgot to underline it, but it was like about how the Japanese was like already weak and was about to surrender, but the Soviets they were expanding.
and then it says,
So I was trying to-
the Soviets were not,
We're not.
yeah, and so you have something about, the question was intimidate the Soviet Union.
Oh,
So you have to say that, you want to intimidate the Soviet Union. And the atomic bomb stopped them from invading parts of it. No, they did invade.
okay.
Yeah, they did.
Oh, I thought they weren't there yet though.
No, they did.
Oh,
And in fact, they had taken pretty much all the way down to Korea. And it took about 6 days. Yeah,
so I missed that part.
Yeah. and that was like an incredible invasion. So we didn't want them to cross with it.
Oh, okay.
And so then, but the big thing is, other than that,
I just missed like background.
you have no background. And the thing is, I think
Yeah, I did a lot.
I know.
Yeah.
You did study.
Mhm.
I just make something.
Okay.
Yes, go tomorrow, it's gonna be so cool.
What do I know? And then let it just go.
Okay.
And even though I know time right now, yeah, wait, you can go.
You really put it
Yeah, but it's better to get it done.
I remember this.
Yeah, I was just stressing. It was like 20 minutes in and I was just now finishing up that thing.
Use abbreviations, use
Okay.
letters. I mean, the big thing, you can use letters.
Write down some random
Just
words.
make sure that it's yours. You know what you use.
Yeah.
Just so you don't forget. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Give me one of the paragraphs.
Okay.
Pick out one that you think you know some more information about using Alex.
Do you want me to just like redo like my last one?
Why don't you do one of your paragraphs with body and your last one?
Okay.
Sound good?
Thank you. I have a question. If you have a suggestion for how to talk about the quotes, like wondering about the stations. Adopt. Well, I didn't like quote them, but I was like summarize.
Yeah, I know. You did a little bit of this. Always make sure with you, are you quoting or using the document? So that's just make sure you justify the bond. And you put down pro offer mystery corporation.
Yeah.
And so say like this.
Okay, and then if I
And
was
then
trying,
that will go in summary to what you know.
because I was trying to talk about like just point of view, sort of things. So
And that was pretty good. You did well on that. But you need a little bit of your outside evidence to show that you're
So
not.
just kind of like stop talking about that earlier and then be like, talk about.
Yeah, including, or even in the same sentence, you talk about what they said.
Okay.
Because you start just repeating everything in the paragraph.
Then it's really.
Yeah, and it's kind of, it's becomes, okay, you're just restating the paragraph. And then I'm not sure what you mean. Because the thing is,
Yeah.
you're see that. Just a couple more words.
Just how to word it.
Just a couple more words. Just mention Batonda. Just mention Yalta.
Thank you.
That is awesome. That is really awesome. You got a question?
Oh, and this class? Oh, I'm gone tomorrow.
Yeah. In fact, since you didn't see it already for Saturday.
Oh.
Okay, so don't take half of it. Yes. No! No! We're doing Mythbusters. And if everything goes right, we're gonna have a quiz on Friday. I try to have a quiz on Monday. Monday quizzes are a blast. In fact, Monday quizzes are gonna be so good because I'm not even gonna be here. Find out. But we are doing. We're gonna do a little bit about Mythbusters. About moon landing. It's a great one. And then we're gonna walk. And then.
Oh,
we
I've
got-
seen that one actually, so.
All right, so.
Mars.
Really? You know how much I lose in potato chips?
I didn't know.
How much? I'm not gonna let you eat it. I'm gonna crush every one of those chips.
I already knew that we had.
I didn't.
Try? Is that a dare?
No, I didn't.
What kind of cheese?
I don't know what it's called, but it's the same cheese as the string cheese.
I would be just so fun.
Because we're always.
Mozzarella, Swiss, provolone, Gouda, Gouda. Who likes Gouda? I just like saying the word Gouda. That, no, not that. Yes. Yeah. The quiz for which one?
I'm not gonna be here Friday.
Yeah, you remind me tomorrow, yeah. Because you'll be here tomorrow, right? Okay. All right, so let's go. We got a little bit left to finish up that. Then we're gonna watch a little thing on the moon, and then you're gonna do a little bit of research on your own. So take out your notes really quick. And I expected better. Ribs. Paper ribs.
So much. That's what oh, so I didn't get a couple of pages. 3 pages. And I'm sorry, I didn't know that. No, I was thinking the same.
No, it's not. I thought it was a pet.
What is it?
I realized it's-
Oh my goodness! Yes! Yeah, I would rate this one 5 points.
Honestly, I have absolutely
Why do you have a
no
pointer?
purpose on this anymore. I had it for future debate projects, but I'm never gonna be great.
Well, I'll break it, but it's worth it, right?
You have fun.
I got a 5.
It's a sword.
Is it magnetic?
I got that. One year.
Oh, that would be awesome.
No.
Anything.
Not at all. What a disappointment. All right, so.
It will put holes in things, so I'll be like, it's like a board, like yeah, that thing, it'll put a hole in it.
By the way, does this bug anybody?
Yes.
I did that like the second day I had that new screen. Oh. Okay, so we have just a little bit left. When I finish, then we have to go look at the catapults.
Oh, my ACM.
Huh?
Yeah. It's like the other first force.
Huh? It's a driver issue on there.
I don't know, but I got a 22 on it, so.
Huh? Yeah, I thought so too, but I was really worried if it just smeared it. Because it's so many, it's kind of porous. And I thought that smeared it would be a lot worse. So. Okay, so that was a good sample example of a DBQ. Has everyone got it? Good.